Good evening, or morning, or maybe even lunch. Who knows how long it'll take me to actually finish this shit. But today I decided to do something special. And instead of just writing a review, I'm going to actually review one and have footage this time. Yeah, I'm finally doing what every movie critic in the world has been doing for the past 20 years. And the movie I've decided to review today could not have been a worse choice to break virgin ground with. It's called Ninja Fists of Flame, I think, is the title. With movies like this, you never really know for sure what the real title is, if there even is one. But it's a 60s, maybe late 50s martial arts movie that I think is Japanese, but I could be wrong. And it is so delightful in so many ways. I'm almost certain to fuck this up because this movie's all over the place, and it's very hard to get a good to explain it any other way than just going through the plot. This is a lot like Kung Fu Drifter. If you read the review for that. So this movie starts off with there's this woman, and I cannot remember her name. I think she even has different names at different points in the movie, but I'm not going to butcher or disrespect her name, so I'm just going to call her Action Lady. Not out of disrespect, just because I'm lazy. But she's walking around in the beginning, like there's this establishing shot that establishes nothing, and then she's walking around, and she comes upon the detritus of a massacre that we have no context for whatsoever, but that we will be given the extensive context of later. But so she sees it, and they they throw. She jumps. I'll get to the jumping later, but she jumps off this cliff, and they have a dummy. It has to be a dummy because nobody could survive that fall. But they drop a dummy, and I guess it was a weighted dummy because it falls like flat, and it's they do the samurai cop well, they're like reverse samurai cop actually. They slow the fucking camera down to where it just looks like this dummy light as a feather floating down from this cliff, and then they do the cowboy switch where she hits and then just like nonchalantly walks out of this bush like, oh, yeah, I didn't nothing to see here. And yes, I mean I applaud them for doing the best they could do at the time. It just looks goofy as shit. And so she goes up to the massacre and she finds a gold medal pendant that all these dudes have on their belts. But don't let that signify anything to you because it's as difficult as in Miami Connection to discern the various Venn diagram overlapping circles of fractious groups in this movie. Just fucking give up unless you want to watch it like 5 or 6 times and pay very close attention. Uh, anyway, the gold pendant is one circle. I think they're an autonomous like mercenary group, maybe, or they might be. There's also a rebel faction. I might as well get to it. I told you this is going to be disjointed. There's a rebel faction that wants to stop the prince from ascending the throne. Was there a death of a ruler before this? No, does not address that. Who the fuck is the prince? What country does he rule? None of this is addressed. It's contentious for the sake of contention. The rebel faction wants to stop the prince, and I think they're the dudes with the gold belt buckles. Then there's the evil dragon fortress people.
Well, what do you think?
Of course, it's what I suggested. So let's get started and not waste any more time.
That's what the movie calls them, not me. And they are led by the big bad. I'm just going to call him the fucking big bad. And he plays several parts in this movie, but his chief role is the ruler or overlord of evil dragon fortress. He has his own, I think, his own posse. Although I could be wrong. Well, oh yeah, he has his own posse, but army maybe. I don't know if like the gold dudes work with him at his fortress, or if they're just an autonomous group, or if they're mercenaries for the rebels. Because him and the rebels obviously have a conflicting motive. But anyway, see, I told you, it got fucking complicated right off the bat. Back to the funny shit. So she goes back and goes to what passes for a bar at this historical point in time. And meanwhile, while she's there, there are a group of other dudes with the gold belt buckles and tension. There's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fucking fight. And what a really interesting thing, she's not a masculine looking woman by any stretch of the imagination, but she sits down and the dudes in the table across from her are talking. I think they've been having some sex talk before she got there that pissed her off. I don't know. But they discern or deduce that she's non-binary.
Hey, do you think that's a boy or a girl?
A girl.
And you?
A boy.
You're both wrong. It's neither a boy or a girl.
Really? Yeah.
Hey, but it looks tough.
Why is this in here? I don't know, but it's not even like the spark that causes the fight. She confronts them about being working for the Dragon Fortress.
You must be the scoundrels from Dragon Fortress.
Hey, you're insulting us.
To which one of the dudes replies that they don't work for the Dragon.
Our boss is the dragon.
They work for 4 animals, like a tiger, a bear,
The fox. Our third is the leopard. And the fourth is a tiger.
or something like that. I don't question it, never fucking comes up again. So maybe they're with the evil dragon fortress, but they get in a fight because she throws their gold thing on the table. Now, this is the first like full-on fight in the movie, and for most of it, it's just kind of like normal for a while until this one dude that she saw fit to murder in a pretty heinous way comes up to her and she just kicks the fuck out of him. And not only is the flying funny, but he flies, the movie cuts back to something else, and then when it cuts back to him, he impaled himself on a fucking like turret or something, like in fucking Braveheart. Oh, this movie, like, it gets like pretty fucking funny pretty fast and stays on that crescent, that level for a while. And the rest of the fight's pretty unremarkable, nothing worth the mention of. And this is where the plot gets sort of like, yeah. So it cuts to this old Asian man, and he's having a conversation with another man who is, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it, he is evil Dragon Fortress Overlord, pretending to be someone else. Who exactly, I don't know, but he tells, apparently he saved the prince. He might have actually done that. Like, I cannot remember with this movie. But he's with the old man, and the old man likes the prince. They're like together. And so he, like, pretty much unprompted and impulsively decides to engage his daughter to the evil Dragon Fortress guy. And the evil Dragon Fortress guy is like, yeah, great. And then our hero, I'm just going to call him Hero, shows up, and he instantly doesn't like Dragon Dude. And they fight. Like, pretty much every scene in this movie is going to have a fight of some kind in it. It just does. And they fight, but the old man breaks it up. Because he doesn't like him on sight. Like, just right off the fucking get-go. But then, I really don't want to miss anything, but I don't want to make this review too long. Where does it go from there? The prince gets kidnapped again. Oh, wait, I forgot. before the prince gets kidnapped again, the prince, the love interest whom the old dude just up and married off like she was a piece of wood, they get kidnapped and rescued so many times that at any point in the movie, I will applaud you if you know the status of each one, right? Whether they're currently kidnapped or currently freed. But this old, like not old, but like bigger Asian guy comes in with the prince, and he's all fucked up. And this is, I've only seen this in this movie, and it's really remarkable. And while he's dying, he tells the story of the original fight that the woman's like came upon, like, and it just goes on. Like normally, this sort of thing, you would have had the fight first. That would have been like the first scene in the movie. Then she would have come in later, or maybe mid-fight. Who knows? This movie, however, structured it where the surviving dude of the like almost surviving dude survived long enough to carry the exposition on his back, but he tells like a good 10-minute fucking story with his dying breath.
They joined the revolt.
Like this shit goes on.
They thought that I'd been killed.
And on.
But they couldn't find him.
And he's speaking in like the most tortured, raggedy way.
But the prince had been hiding under some bodies.
And it's just like, what the fuck? It's kind of like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer when they show the dead people and play the audio of the killing that happened before the killing while the body's there. I guess they're trying to enhance that emotional effect of fights because there is none otherwise. But anyway, so he dies.
Mr. Hall, Mr. Hall.
And so now I know at least who the prince is because he's there. And this prince is like a whining little bitch. Like he's the worst character. I mean, none of the characters are really bad, but he's the one I could have done without. Like they rope him up at one point when they kidnap him, maybe the third time. They like get this fucking lasso and rope him and pull him up a fucking hill, which is funny. I won't pretend it's not. And where am I at now? Okay, so I don't know if this comes before or after. None of this really matters when it occurs. But at one point, the love interest is going on a trip, and this is back in the day, I guess, when everything was a big to-do, because they have her in like a box. And when they stop, you get this great shot, like it's an overhead shot, and this dude walks in front of the camera and put like so that the shot is coming from between his legs, which is a great point of fucking view, right? Then they have some talk. They might maybe get attacked. Maybe there's a fight. I don't remember. But he turns back. They're on like a overhead cliff, and he turns back to talk to his little minions. And when he turns back, it's the same framing. He's still like shooting from behind his fucking balls. Like maybe that was one of his contractual demands. Like I'll be in your stupid martial arts movie, but you got to film from behind my balls at one point. All right, so what happens next? Oh god. The prince does eventually get kidnapped again. I think this is when he gets caught with the lasso. And while he's at the Dragon Fortress, hero lady, I called her something else before, I already forgot. She rescues him or attempts to rescue him the first time. And this is pretty good because this is yet another thing I've never seen in a movie. She goes in and doesn't quite make it into the fortress, but she gets into like the courtyard and she has to fight like a fucking 100 dudes. And it starts out kind of funny, and then they start like it's like an escalating joke, but I'm damn sure they did not intend this to be funny. Then some dudes show up with the ends of their quarterstaffs on fire. They all encircle her with torches and start twirling it like it's fucking a goddamn magic show. And they're trying to. This is so creative and dumb, but they're trying to hypnotize her with the fucking swirling uh, things. I think they eventually do, but at one point she's fending them off well enough that they have to call in these dudes, and it shows them in a wide shot where they're standing up on top of the roof, and they have three sparklers on their heads, a sparkler on their arm, and a sparkler on their boots, or like they're like a little torch, and it's so great because they just jump headfirst like a swan dive off the fucking roof. And in and of itself, that was really really funny. Like that tops almost everything I've seen out of my top 10 funniest movies ever. Like outside of that little bracket, but it gets better because they hop down in the courtyard with her and start doing fucking somersaults. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just my warped, frayed sense of humor from having seen so many bad movies. But to me, that's just fucking wonderful. And it's like, well, just like stay away from them, and they'll probably eventually catch themselves on fire. Claim like that. Oh, and at points their fires go out and then come back. So I guess they have like lighters. They can just keep lighting them, like fucking flamethrower guy in X-Men. But so she gets knocked out, and she is a prisoner at one point, and escapes. There is, I should mention, the love interest dude, our hero. He got framed for trying to kidnap the prince, so they tortured his ass to get him to confess, which he didn't. And now to hero lady and old Japanese man or old Chinese man, whichever he is. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just honestly don't know. They both are shocked and just shocked to the bottom of disbelief that he will not help them.
Mr. Chi! Mr. Chi, please stay and help us. Help us rescue the prince.
I'm a rebel. I'm not good enough.
Mr. Chi?
To get the prince back after they've tortured him so badly. His back has like scars all over the fucking place. Yeah, that happens. You torture somebody, they're probably not going to join your cause immediately afterwards, even when you exonerate them. But yeah, he gets proven to be right all along, and Hero Lady goes to persuade him to save the prince by healing his wounds. All right, so and he gets in a fight with her, and they throw shit, and it's just yeah, you'll see when I put the footage in.
You're trying to kill me?
But man, all right, so not only is the prince captured, I think, and rescued at some point, the love interest also gets captured, and this is where the movie starts to take off. I want to get to the end because this is getting long enough. Okay, so at one point, the prince is captured again, and Hero Lady goes to the fortress to save him. And this is where we have the final battle. And the thing about bad movies is the enjoyment you get from them does not follow the dramatic structure of the movie often. You have some, like maybe The Happening, Wicker Man, where the humor, intentionally or not, does escalate to where the end is funnier. It's like a climax of humor. A lot of bad movies don't really do that, though, because they don't know they're bad, and they're trying to do good. But this movie has a wonderful climax. Okay, so the Hero Lady goes and she's yet again she has to fight some dudes in the courtyard.
All right, boys, and take 2 steps to the left and go.
Which is just a regular fight, and then she goes in to fight the big bad. And at some point when she's fighting the big bad, like you know it's a dummy that they have attached to strings that they just pull back. But because of the way they edited this, because it just has like her dummy like fly horizontally, and the way they edit it, it looks as if he just kicked her so hard that it broke the laws of physics and her body just turned horizontal and shot like a fucking bullet towards this rack of spears and shit. Then they're still fighting, and evil Dragon Lord dude miscalculates a high kick and kicks down one of the pillars supporting his fucking temple shit that he's in, and it starts fucking coming down, and they start bouncing out of there rather than just fucking running. Oh, they bounce like a lot in this movie. It's 99% bouncing. Those like super trampolines they must have. That's the only way I can figure it out. They'll jump into trees. They'll bounce out of trees. They're just bouncy bounce in this movie. But where was I? Okay, so then Hero shows up and I forgot to mention the dudes with the special weapons. I'll just mention them briefly. There's one dude that has like banana peels on his armor that pop off and they kill you if they touch you, I guess. And there's another dude that does him one better, who has like the sex machine thing, except for a gun, it has 2 blades that he will fly at you, literally horizontally, and like slice your face off, or like slice your face. That's how he kills you. He doesn't do it frequently though, which that would be like my thing I was known for. But besides those 2 dudes, everybody else is kind of a winker. But Hero and Hero Lady fight him. And he kicks both of them, I think, and they fly off screen to have it cut to where they fell. And he kicked Hero Dude so fucking hard that he kills a tree that nearly kills him. That's another thing I like about this movie. It is at least it's surreal in its jumping off cliffs and bouncing and all this, but when somebody gets fucked up in this movie, they get fucked up. Like this prince is, or like the hero dude, he's out after he killed the tree. Somehow I think Hero Lady kills the dragon dude by impaling him with her hands. That's new. I'd never seen that. But and then in the best ending I would have given this movie, the prince is back on his little pagoda, like, or not pagoda, but little thing they carry him on. You know, if you're going to be the king, and you've been the target and subjected to many kidnap attempts, maybe putting him up on these big ass fucking pedestals and carrying him around like he was the fucking Ark of the Covenant might not be good. Maybe just put him in like a peasant's clothes or put him in a warrior's clothes, have him mix in. That's all I'm saying. But yeah. Anyway, he gets on his thing and they carry him off, and he really is like, well, that's another heroic act, and fucking walks off. That's the end of the movie.